The beloved Theo Huxtable died twice, once on screen in 1992 and again in real life on July 20th, 2025, when Malcolm-Jamal Warner drowned in Costa Rica just one day before turning 55. This isn't just another celebrity death story. This is about secrets Hollywood never wanted you to know. About a child star who almost quit acting forever. About a man who won a Grammy while battling depression. And about final words that predicted his own ending. Stay until the end because the last thing Malcolm said on his podcast will shock you. Let me start with something nobody talks about. When Malcolm was 13 and got the role of Theo, he couldn't read properly. The kid who would become America's favorite TV son was dyslexic. But here's the crazy part. The show's writers didn't know this when they cast him. They added Theo's learning problems later because Malcolm was struggling with his own lines. Every time you saw Theo having trouble in school, you were watching Malcolm's real pain. Born in Jersey City in 1970, Malcolm's life was tough from day one. His dad left when he was tiny. His mom, Pamela, worked 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. When other kids played outside, Malcolm was in acting classes because his mom spent her last dollars believing in him. She drove him to every audition in a beat-up car that barely ran. Most nights, she fell asleep at her desk from working so hard. But here's what made Malcolm different. He wasn't just another cute kid trying to be famous. He was carrying adult problems at age 9. His mom was drowning in bills. His dad was gone. Malcolm felt responsible for fixing everything. That pressure shaped him into someone who could handle anything, and it showed on screen. The Cosby Show audition changed everything, but not how you think. When Malcolm walked into that room, hundreds of kids had already failed. Bill Cosby was getting frustrated. Then this skinny kid from Jersey showed up and something clicked. But Malcolm almost didn't get the part. He messed up his lines during the first reading. Instead of starting over, he looked at Cosby and said, "Can I try that again? I know I can do better." That confidence at 13 years old got him hired. Here's the part that will blow your mind. Malcolm made more money as a teenager than most adults make in a lifetime. But he was miserable. Fame hit him like a truck. He couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. Couldn't make mistakes like normal kids. Couldn't even cry without someone taking his picture. During the show's biggest years, Malcolm would lock himself in bathroom stalls at restaurants just to have 5 minutes alone. Malcolm started feeling like he was disappearing into Theo. Fans would see him on the street and only want to talk about the show. His own friends treated him differently. By age 16, he was seeing a therapist because he didn't know who Malcolm was anymore. The kid who was making America laugh was crying himself to sleep. Music saved his life. While other teenagers were at parties, Malcolm was learning bass guitar in his bedroom. He wasn't trying to become a musician, he was trying to survive. Music was the only place where he could be himself instead of Theo. His mom would find him at 2 a.m. playing the same song over and over, working through feelings he couldn't express any other way. But the real turning point came when Malcolm started directing episodes at 17. Nobody expected it. Child actors weren't supposed to be smart enough to understand cameras and storytelling. But Malcolm had been watching everything, learning from everyone. When he got behind the camera, something magical happened. He found his voice. He wasn't just Theo anymore, he was an artist. When The Cosby Show ended in 1992, Malcolm faced every child star's nightmare. Was there life after his famous character? The answer was brutal. Hollywood saw him as Theo, period. Casting directors would literally say, "We need you to be more like Theo." Audition after audition ended with rejection. For 2 years, Malcolm barely worked. He started thinking about quitting acting completely. The comeback started with Malcolm and Eddie, but even that show tried to make him play Theo with a different name. Malcolm fought back. He demanded writing credits. He pushed for storylines that showed his range. Slowly, people started seeing Malcolm the actor instead of just the kid from Cosby. But the real test was still coming. Nobody talks about what happened with Michelle Thomas. She played Theo's girlfriend on the show, but off camera, she was Malcolm's real girlfriend for almost 10 years. They grew up together, planned to get married, then cancer hit. Malcolm spent 2 years watching the woman he loved die slowly. He was 28 years old, and his world fell apart. Here's what the media never reported. During Michelle's illness, Malcolm couldn't work for months. He lost 30 pounds. started having panic attacks. His mom begged him to get help, but Malcolm thought he had to be strong for Michelle. When she died in 1998, Malcolm disappeared from Hollywood for almost a year. Close friends worried he might hurt himself. The healing came through poetry. Malcolm started showing up at tiny clubs in LA, sharing his pain with strangers. No cameras, no publicity, just raw emotion and words. These performances weren't about being famous, they were about staying alive. Poetry taught Malcolm that his pain could help other people heal too. Coming back from grief changed everything about Malcolm's career choices. He stopped caring about being the biggest star and started picking roles that meant something. Jeremiah showed his dramatic range. Suits proved he could handle complex characters. But The Resident was where Malcolm truly showed his growth. Playing Dr. Austin, he brought together everything he'd learned about performance, leadership, and vulnerability. Music remained his secret weapon. Malcolm's band Miles Long wasn't about fame, it was about respect. Playing with jazz legends like Earl Klugh meant earning credibility through skill, not celebrity. When Malcolm won the Grammy in 2015 for Jesus Children, it felt different than any acting award. This was recognition for who he really was, not who people remembered him being. The Grammy win happened during another personal transformation. Malcolm had married Kesha, a lawyer who knew him as Malcolm, not Theo. When their daughter was born in 2017, everything clicked into place. Fatherhood gave Malcolm what he'd been searching for his whole life, a reason to live that had nothing to do with fame. But here's the secret about Malcolm's later years. Despite all his success, he was still fighting depression. The same feelings that started when he was a teenage star never fully went away. Malcolm just got better at managing them. He stayed in therapy. He talked openly with friends. He used his platform to help others who were struggling. That's what made Not All Hood so important. When Malcolm launched his podcast in 2024, he wasn't just creating content, he was creating a lifeline. Every episode dealt with real problems Black men face but rarely discuss. Mental health, relationship struggles, finding purpose beyond money and fame. Malcolm turned his pain into a tool for healing others. The podcast revealed sides of Malcolm nobody knew existed. He talked about almost quitting the Cosby Show multiple times, about contemplating suicide after Michelle's death, about the pressure of being a role model when he was still figuring out life himself. Listeners heard a man who'd been hiding his struggles behind a smile for 40 years. His co-hosts Wussy Baraka and Candace Kelly brought out Malcolm's most honest moments. In one episode, he admitted that success felt empty if you couldn't share it with people who really knew you. In another, he talked about being jealous of his own daughter because she got to have a normal childhood. These weren't celebrity confessions. They were human admissions that made fans love him even more. The final episode, released July 18th, focused on suicide prevention. Malcolm talked about his darkest moments and how therapy saved his life. His last words on the show were, "We're here to heal, not hide." 2 days later, he was gone. Those words now feel like his final gift to everyone still struggling. Costa Rica was supposed to be a celebration. Malcolm's 55th birthday was the next day. He was with his wife and daughter, finally at peace with his life and career. According to witnesses, Malcolm was swimming normally when the current suddenly changed. He was a strong swimmer, but the ocean was stronger. Emergency responders tried everything, but it was too late. The tributes poured in immediately. Felicia Rashad said Malcolm brought light to every room. Tracy Ellis Ross called him a brother. But the most powerful responses came from regular people who shared how Malcolm's work had helped them through difficult times. His honesty about mental health had literally saved lives. Here's what most people don't realize about Malcolm's death. It happened at the peak of his powers, not the end of his career. He was filming new episodes of The Resident. His podcast was growing rapidly. He had directing projects in development. Malcolm wasn't fading away, he was building towards something even bigger. The real tragedy isn't just that we lost Theo Huxtable. We lost a man who had finally figured out how to use fame for good. Malcolm spent his last years showing people that it's okay to struggle, okay to ask for help, okay to be vulnerable. In a world full of fake social media perfection, Malcolm chose radical honesty. His daughter will grow up knowing her father as more than just a TV character. She'll know him as a man who survived child stardom, devastating loss, and public pressure while never losing his kindness. That's a legacy worth more than any award or TV show. Malcolm's story proves that our childhood heroes can become even more inspiring as adults. He showed us that success without authenticity is meaningless, that helping others heal your own wounds, that it's never too late to become who you're meant to be. The boy who played Theo Huxtable grew into a man who understood that real strength comes from being honest about weakness. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's greatest performance wasn't on any screen. It was choosing to live with courage and compassion despite everything life threw at him. Hit that subscribe button if Malcolm's story inspired you to live more authentically, because legends like him remind us that our struggles can become our greatest strengths. His final message rings louder now than ever.